Did you know that Nina Simone wasn't just a singer, but the voice of an entire movement? She became the soundtrack for the civil rights movement and an icon whose influence still echoes today. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Nina's music wasn't just entertainment, it was a weapon for change. In this video, we're diving into the incredible life of Nina Simone, her struggles, her triumphs, and how her music became the soundtrack of an entire revolution. From classical piano prodigy to civil rights icon, this is Nina's story. Let's go. Born in Tryon, North Carolina, in 1933, Nina Simone grew up in the heart of the segregated South. Her family, poor but proud, knew early on that Nina had a gift. She was playing piano at just 3 years old, and by the time she was 7, she was performing in church. But those early years weren't easy. Nina faced racism from an early age, and despite her incredible talent, opportunities were limited. Her dream of becoming a classical pianist was crushed when the prestigious Curtis Institute of Music rejected her application, citing her race as a reason. So, Nina did what any trailblazer would do. She adapted. She reinvented herself, trading classical piano for jazz, blues, and gospel. And it wasn't long before she made a name for herself in New York City. But the road to success was anything but smooth. Nina struggled to find her place in a music industry that wasn't always welcoming to Black women. And yet, she found her voice in the most unexpected way, by embracing her unique blend of musical styles and creating a sound that was all her own. But what would happen when the doors of opportunity slammed in her face? Stay tuned to find out how Nina Simone fought for a seat at the table. In 1958, Nina Simone made her mark with her first major hit, I Loves You, Porgy. It wasn't just a song, it was her declaration of musical independence. Combining jazz, blues, and classical influences, Nina was not only redefining the music scene, she was challenging it. Her deep, soulful voice and impeccable piano skills drew people in, but it was her raw honesty and emotion that made her unforgettable. By the 1960s, Nina's music had already made waves, but it was her decision to use her platform to speak out that truly solidified her legacy. She didn't just want to entertain. She wanted to change the world. In 1963, the brutal bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, which killed 4 young girls, inspired Nina to write one of her most iconic songs, Mississippi Goddam. The song was a direct response to the horror of racial violence and the slow pace of change. It wasn't just a protest song, it was Nina's cry for justice. But as her fame grew, so did the resistance. People didn't always understand her approach, but Nina didn't care. She wasn't here to fit into anyone's box. She was here to make her voice heard. As the 1960s unfolded, Nina's music became the anthem of the civil rights movement. She wasn't just a musician, she was an activist. Songs like To Be Young, Gifted, and Black, For Women, and I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free resonated with Black Americans, but also with anyone who believed in justice. Mississippi Goddam wasn't just a song, it was a declaration. It was Nina's way of demanding change in a world that had ignored Black lives for too long. At a time when most artists were staying silent, Nina stood up, and her music became an irreplaceable part of the civil rights movement. But Nina's activism wasn't just confined to her music. She was unapologetically vocal about her beliefs, even when it meant alienating parts of her audience. She refused to be quieted, using every performance, every song, as an opportunity to speak out against racial injustice, not just in America, but across the globe. But what happens when an artist's personal pain becomes the fuel for an entire movement? Keep watching to discover the songs that made Nina Simone an icon of civil rights. Behind the music, Nina's personal life was filled with struggles. Her marriages were tumultuous, and she fought through mental health issues, including depression. She often felt isolated, torn between her need for peace and the fire that fueled her activism. Her rise to fame wasn't without cost. Nina faced intense pressure to be a public figure while dealing with personal demons that most people didn't see. Yet, she continued to perform and fight, all while navigating a life that was as complicated as her music. In the 1970s, Nina made a bold decision. She left the United States. Tired of the constant racial battles and exhaustion from living in a divided country, she moved to Europe, where she found a sense of freedom she had never known in America. But even in exile, Nina never stopped being an advocate for justice. Today, Nina Simone is remembered as a revolutionary artist and a fearless activist. Her legacy is cemented in the music she left behind and in the change she sparked. Her influence extends far beyond the civil rights era. Artists today still draw inspiration from her boldness and courage. But what did her life look like outside the stage? Let's take a closer look at the family life, the struggles, and the private moments that helped shape Nina Simone. Despite her immense talent and success, Nina Simone's financial journey was marked by struggle. For years, she battled mismanagement and exploitation in the music industry. Despite her popularity, she didn't always see the wealth she deserved. Nina's time in exile in Europe wasn't about luxury. It was about survival. She had to fight for ownership of her music and find new ways to support herself. Unfortunately, her business dealings weren't always smooth, but that didn't stop her from making history. Despite the challenges, Nina Simone left behind an empire of music and influence that continues to grow in value today. But her story isn't just about money. It's about the cost of being an artist who refuses to compromise for fame or fortune. Even after her death in 2003, Nina Simone's influence has only grown. Tributes, documentaries, and musical adaptations have helped cement her status as a global icon. Her legacy is not just in her songs, but in the countless artists who cite her as an inspiration, from Beyoncé to Lauryn Hill to Kendrick Lamar. Today, her music is as relevant as ever. Nina Simone's voice, her defiance, and her passion for justice still resonate in the ongoing fight for equality. She's the embodiment of the power of music to inspire change, and her message is as timely now as it was during the civil rights movement. So, what lessons can we take from Nina's life? That's for you to decide, but one thing is clear. Nina Simone was more than an artist. She was a force of nature. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of the icons who shaped history. And remember, justice is always a song worth singing. Thanks for watching, and keep the music alive. See you next time.